All glories to the assembled devotees.
Hare Krishna.
All glories to the assembled devotees.
Hare Krishna.
All glories to the assembled devotees.
Hare Krishna.
All glory to Sri Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga Hari Hari Bo.
Hari Hari Bo.
Nama Om Vishnu Padaya
Krishna
Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Shami Iti Namane Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharini Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Jai Jai Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda
Jai Jai Sri Chaitanya Jai Nityananda
Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jai Gaur Bhakta Vrinda
Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jai Gaur Bhakta Vrinda
Jai Jai Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda
Jai Jai Sri Chaitanya Jai Nityananda
Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jai Gaur Bhakta Vrinda
Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jai Gaur Bhakta Vrinda
Jai Jai Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda
Jai Jai Sri Chaitanya Jai Nityananda
Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jai Gaur Bhakta Vrinda
Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jai Gaur Bhakta Vrinda.
We're continuing our reading and study of the Sri Caitanya Charitamrita, and we're in Madhya Lila there. We're continuing with the pastimes of Srila Madhavendra Puri. I know we have like 3 different places, or maybe 4, on the Chaitanya Charitamrita, so it might be a little discombobulating because we're jumping a little bit, but that's okay. It's all transcendental. And Srila Prabhupada also used to, when he would come to a place, sometimes he would just open the book, Srimad Bhagavatam or Chaitanya Charitamrita, and they would speak, or Bhagavad Gita, and he would speak on that. So we'll continue here until the end of this pastime of Srila Madhavendra Puri, because it's quite instructive and important. Text 89.
গোপাল প্রকট হইল, দেশে শব্দ হইল, আশপাশ গ্রামের লোক দেখিতে আইল।
When it was advertised throughout the country that Lord Gopal had appeared atop Govardhan Hill, all the people from neighboring villages came to see the deity. So there's different kind of fame, and this fame of the Supreme Lord as Gopal is spreading in that area. Even today, people come from all over India, especially northern India, to see the same deity, who's now usually referred to as Srinathji, and stays in Rajasthan and Udaipur, near Udaipur, in a place called Natadwara.
এক এক দিন এক এক গ্রামে লইল মাগিনা, অন্নকূট করে সবে হর্ষিত হনা।
One village after another was pleased to beg Madhavendra Puri to allot them one day to perform the Ankut ceremony. Thus, day after day, the Ankut ceremony was performed for some time. So it appears from this that it wasn't just one day a year, but they were continuing to perform it from village to village. Every village would come and they do it. Very interesting.
রাত্রিকালে ঠাকুরেরে করাইয়া শয়ন, পুরী গোসানি কইল কিছু গব্য ভোজন।
Sri Madhavendra Puri did not eat anything throughout the day, but at night, after laying the deity down to rest, he took a milk preparation. Was that? Do we see up what that milk preparation was?
No, just গব্য।
Gavya from, okay, just a cow. Okay.
প্রাতঃকালে পুনঃ তৈছে করিল সৃজন, অন্ন লনা এক গ্রামের আইল লোকগণ।
The next morning, the rendering of service to the deity began again, and people from one village arrived with all kinds of food grains.
অন্ন, ঘৃত, দধি, দুগ্ধ গ্রামে যত ছিল, গোপালেরে আগে লোক আনিয়া ধরিল।
The inhabitants of the village brought to the deity of Gopal as much food, grains, ghee, yogurt, and milk as they had in their village. Purport: Anna, Grita, Dadhi, and Dugdha are food grains, ghee, yogurt, and milk. Actually, these are the basis of all food. Vegetables and fruits are subsidiary. Hundreds and thousands of recipes can be made out of grains, vegetables, ghee, milk, and yogurt. The food offered to Gopal in the Ankut ceremony contained only these 5 ingredients. Only demoniac people are attracted to other types of food, which we will not even mention in this connection. We should understand that in order to prepare nutritious food, we require only grains, ghee, yogurt, and milk. We cannot offer anything else to the deity. The Vaishnava, the perfect human being, does not accept anything not offered to the deity. People are often frustrated with national food policies. But from the Vedic scriptures, we find that if there are sufficient cows and grains, the entire food problem is solved. The Vaishyas, people engaged in agriculture and commerce, are therefore recommended in Bhagavad Gita to produce grains and give protection to cows. Cows are the most important animal because they produce the miracle food milk from which we can prepare ghee and yogurt. The perfection of human civilization depends on Krishna consciousness, which recommends deity worship. Preparations from vegetables, grains, milk, ghee, and yogurt are offered to the deity and then distributed. Here we can see the difference between East and the West. The people who came to see the deity of Gopal brought all kinds of food to offer the deity. They brought all the food they had in stock. And they came before the deity not only to accept prasad for themselves, but to distribute it to others. The Krishna consciousness movement vigorously approves this practice of preparing food, offering it to the deity, and distributing it to the general population. This activity should be extended universally to stop sinful eating habits, as well as other behavior befitting only demons. A demoniac civilization will never bring peace within the world. Since eating is the first necessity of human society, those engaged in solving the problems of preparing and distributing food should take lessons from Madhavendra Puri and execute the Annakut ceremony. When the people take to eating only prasad offered to the deity, all the demons will be turned into Vaishnavas. When the people are Krishna conscious, naturally the government will be also. A Krishna conscious man is always a very liberal well-wisher of everyone. When such men head the government, those people will certainly be sinless. They will no longer be disturbing demons. It is then and then only that a peaceful condition can prevail in society. Om Jnana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitang Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Katamahyam Dadati Sha Pandantikam. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Srila Prabhupada points out a number of points in this purport. One being the importance of the cow in the worship of Lord Krishna, the deity form, and offering all kinds of preparations to him. So Srila Prabhupada said he didn't want to mention the demoniac foods, but of course we know, especially in the Western countries, that people are addicted to animal slaughter, killing animals to satisfy their tongue. And the animals will die anyway, but they can't wait. They have to do it right away and kill the animal and eat the flesh when it is very young. So the way it is that as long as those things are going on, there can't be peace in human society. Srila Prabhupada's making that point because the gross sinful reactions come back to those who are engaged in that activity, whether it be raising the animal for slaughter, killing the animal, cutting it up, packaging it, distributing it, selling it, cooking it, serving it, or eating it. All the people there get the sinful reactions. And without stopping those things, it's not possible to have peace, according to this purport here. So what's the counteracting force to that bad habit? The counteracting force, Srila Prabhupada mentions, is offering all kinds of food, grains, ghee, milk, yogurt, and secondarily fruits and vegetables to the Lord, and distributing it widely to all people who will take prasadam. Sometimes Krishna prasadam is called the secret weapon because people think, oh, they're having some nice food, but that food will act. Just like a child, if the child puts their hand in the fire will act, isn't it? The fire doesn't, well, this little kid doesn't really know, so I won't burn. Does it happen? No. Similarly, even a child coming to the temple, offering obeisances to the deity, and taking the food offered to the deity, Krishna Prasad, they get the full benefit. They get the benefit, even though they may not understand. And what to speak of children? Everybody who gets that Krishna Prasadam gets freed from sinful reaction. Therefore, the verses there in Bhagavad Gita, which we might learn sometime soon, Yagya Shishtashina Santo. Yagya Shishta means the remnants of sacrifice, like offering the prasad. Yagya Shishtashina Santo, the devotees, santas. Muchante Sarva Kilbishai. They get freed from all kinds of Kilbishai means sinful reactions. Bhunjate te tvagam papa. But those who prepare food just for their personal sense enjoyment, agam means lax. Agam papa means sinful reaction. Ye pachanti atmakarina, just who are preparing food for their personal personal enjoyment. So Srila Prabhupada is encouraging here as a major aspect of worshiping the deity, the wide distribution of the remnants of food offered to the deity of Krishna Prasad. So at a certain point within the development of ISKCON, probably around 1974, Srila Prabhupada emphasized, we don't need to open many more temples, he said. Just develop, you know what he said? Restaurants and reading rooms. Hare Krishna restaurants where they distribute Krishna Prasadam. This is like 1974. So at that time, it became an important mission in many temples to do that. In New York, they had the Govinda restaurant, which a facsimile of is still going there in Brooklyn, and other places around the country and the world, to stop the sinful eating habits of people in that area. So comments or questions on this verse?
You mentioned your last comment, last statement. Prabhupada said to have a Govinda's restaurant and reading facility. Is it a time, because is it always based on again the time, place, circumstances? I was working on that project last year, and then this came, COVID came. I was not sure how successful I would be, but fortunately I got saved. I would have lost so much of money. So is it time, place, circumstances? Means is based on the demand and culture. Now also we should do that program will work, like just checking.
Well, exactly how it's implemented, certainly you would have to be consider time, place, and circumstance. But the principle of distributing Krishna Prasadam to widely is encouraged. Srila Prabhupada encouraged that very much. For example, in New York City, they not only had a restaurant, which was quite popular. Actually, they named it Govinda's, but Srila Prabhupada suggested the Hare Krishna restaurant as the name. Govinda's. Anyway. But they also had a prasadam cart distributing. They would go out, we would go out and city. Of course, that's a city area. And there was some roti and chickpea vegetable. We call it chole, and different other things. And so people would stop by and they'd buy that prasadam. And then there was an orange juice carts where they squeezed fresh orange juice that were offered to the deities in the morning. The oranges were offered, and many different ways. So that was a particular environment. And of course, you in Delaware have a different environment. One thing Srila Prabhupada also encouraged was, in New York anyway, was a tiffin business. Some people say tiffin box. Tiffin, right?
Yeah.
Like you see in Bombay, they do that in Mumbai. But so in New York, to pack the prasadam and then to have it delivered, whether in a tiffin or some other container. So many how to do it exactly. That Krishna Kirtan, I know you have a very good brain, isn't it? Yes. Yes, you do. I'm thinking how you can do it. So how it's done, you have to consider, like you said, according to time. But the principle is, nicely done. Some devotees have made these energy bar kinds of things. Like we get they're there at the store in Philadelphia. They're called Pure Bliss Organics. Pure Bliss. So I talked with the manager of that business. He's a devotee named Jai Govardhan in Atlanta. So he's very, very careful that all of the preparations, all of the items are offered first to the deities. And then that prasadam is getting distributed all over the country. I think he said he recently got a big order from some chain chain store. Yeah, so different ways to do that. But the point is that to increase the distribution of prasadam.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, I thought Prabhupada mentioned that the fruits and vegetables are subsidiary. I think that shows how much more important grains and gavya is, the milk products. I thought fruits and vegetables were, equally to grains, and
Yes.
noted that.
Yes, I mean, Lord Krishna says in the 9th chapter, what is that? Patram,
Pushpam phalam toyam.
pushpam, phalam, toyam. So you see here, there's patram, which can be vegetable. Phalam is fruit or vegetable. But here Prabhupada's making a strong point. When I first joined the temple in New York, the main meal was rice, dal, and chapati. That's it. No vegetable. And once in a while there would be some vegetables, so they just put it in the dal. Yeah. So that was how it was for some time. But then there's a little more arrangement for vegetables and fruits. But main thing is probably the main thing. It's not that fruits and vegetables aren't important, but primary importance are the grains, milk products. Yes, good point. Other questions, comments? Okay, text 94, thank you.
পূর্বদিন প্রায় বিপ্র করিল রন্ধন, তৈছে অন্নকূট গোপাল করিল ভোজন.
The next day, almost like before, there was an Annakut ceremony. All the Brahmins prepared foodstuffs and Gopal accepted them.
ব্রজবাসী লোকের কৃষ্ণে সহজ প্রীতি, গোপালের সহজ প্রীতি ব্রজবাসী প্রতি.
The ideal place to execute Krishna consciousness is Braj Bhumi or Vrindavan, where the people are naturally inclined to love Krishna and Krishna is naturally inclined to love them. Purport. In the Bhagavad Gita it is said, Jai jata mam prapadyante tangs tataiva bhajamyaham. There is a responsive cooperation between the Supreme Lord and his devotees. The more a devotee sincerely loves Krishna, the more Krishna reciprocates. So much so that a highly advanced devotee can talk with Krishna face to face. Krishna confirms this in Bhagavad Gita. Tesham satati yuktanam bhajatam priti purvakam dadami buddhi yogam tam yena mam upayanti te. To those who are constantly devoted and worship me with love, I give the understanding by which they can come to me. Bhagavad Gita 10:10. The actual mission of human life is to understand Krishna and return home back to Godhead. Therefore, one who is sincerely engaged in the service of the Lord with love and faith can talk with Krishna and receive instructions by which he can speedily return home back to Godhead. Today, many scholars defend the science of religion, and they have some conception of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but religion without practical experience of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is no religion at all. Srimad Bhagavatam describes this as a form of cheating. Religion means abiding by the orders of Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. If one is not qualified to talk with him and take lessons from him, how can we understand the principles of religion? Thus, talks of religion or religious experience without Krishna consciousness are a useless waste of time. There are strong statements, as usual, from Srila Prabhupada. And Srila Prabhupada is pointing out that an actual advanced or sincere Vaishnav has the opportunity to speak with Krishna, to speak directly to Krishna, not just in an imaginary sense, but in real time, factually. When Narad Muni, his mother was bitten by a snake and died when he was just a boy of how old?
6.
5, 6, about that age. So he actually quit school at that time and started to travel on his own throughout different parts of the country. And he had heard from the great Bhaktivedantas about Krishna consciousness, and he was very sincere. So at some point, he sat down under a tree and began to focus his attention on the Lord within the heart. And then the Lord Krishna exhibited himself to him, just like that, for a moment. And Narada Muni was overwhelmed with, like we say, Gauranga Bolite Habe Pulaka Sharir Hari, like that, overwhelmed with transcendental ecstasy by getting the darshan of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, not in imagination, but truly. So then the Lord, after a few moments, disappeared. And you know what happened then? Ram Shyam shouldn't probably knows.
The separation mode.
True. More than that, though. Yes, Ram Shyam Prabhu.
Roger, I missed the last question.
Oh, okay. So the Lord appeared to Narad Muni, and he was overwhelmed with transcendental, an ocean of transcendental bliss. And but after a short time, the Lord then disappeared. And then what happened?
Yeah, his love was not developed. Means Narad Muni has to pray more because he was not at. Means Lord Krishna wanted him to reach to that prema level. He was not at that level.
Yes. So, yes. So Narad became perturbed. Oh, I had that object of my vision, which was so pleasing, but now that's gone. So he was disturbed. But then you know what happened is Lord Krishna then unmanifest in form, but manifest in sound, spoke to him, and he said, I regret you won't be able to see me anymore for now, but that's just to increase your desire to see me, because by desiring to see me, you'll become free from all material things, all material hankerings, like that. So Lord Krishna spoke directly to Narad Muni. And in the 9th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, there's a verse that goes, Raja Vidya Raja Guyam Pavitram Idamuttamam Pratyakshaavagamam Dharmyam. It is actually the experience of God is practically experienced by the devotee. Pratyakshavagam. Pratyaksha means directly perceived. Pratyakshaavagamam Dharmyam. That's what Srila Prabhupada is mentioning here. And there was a famous discussion that Srila Prabhupada had in 1976 in July in New York City. He was being interviewed by a reporter from Newsday, which is in Long Island, a famous Long Island newspaper. So they were discussing very many things. So at one point, the reporter asked Srila Prabhupada how he makes decisions, like who's going to be in charge of this and all that kind of thing. So they would discuss a little back and forth. And at one point, Srila Prabhupada said, well, Krishna tells me. And the reporter inquired further, as you mean God is telling you? And so then a devotee there, he said, well, our philosophy is Krishna is the intelligence in man. Krishna gives the intelligence, right? So by intelligence, the devotee will understand this is the proper person to put in charge. So you know what Srila Prabhupada said then? No, Krishna tells me. No, Krishna tells me. So, for the pure devotee that happens. For those who are really sincere, satata yuktanam, always engaged in Krishna consciousness, that is Krishna consciousness. One will come to the level that one will be able to associate and interact in real time with the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Lord of everything, the most beautiful, wonderful, dynamic, exciting, powerful, rich person. In the meantime, we get practically the same experience by getting the orders or the direction or the teachings from the spiritual master, the guru. Shakshad haritvena samasta shastri uktastata bhavyata eva shadbi kintu praborya priya eva tasya bandesh guroshi charanarvindam. The spiritual master is accepted like the Supreme Personality of Godhead because he's an intimate servitor of the Lord. So Krishna is telling, and then the spiritual master, he is not, editing what Krishna is saying and changing it, making something else, but he's directly relaying what Krishna wants for us, from Krishna to us conditioned souls. So it's practically the same as talking directly to Krishna, only through the guru, who's the transparent via medium of Krishna. A bona fide spiritual master is the transparent via medium. So it's as good. It's as good as speaking with Krishna. And by practicing, following, adhering, and going along with the orders and the directions of the spiritual master, they'll become to a point where one will be able to do that with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. By qualifying oneself in relation with the bona fide spiritual master, then when one is properly qualified, then that happens. Krishna will reveal himself to us, all of us, each one of us, in his own way. Comments, questions? Okay. Text 96.
Like Prabhuji, I mean,
Yes.
Like,
Ram Sham, you were first. Oh, I see. Go ahead, Ram Sham. I'm sorry.
Yeah, so now like Tadvidi Panipatena Pariprasena Sevaya. So we have to approach the guru, and by submissively, if we ask whatever the doubts we have, so like Krishna in the form of the guru, like Guru Rupe Krishna and Krishna Sastra Pramana. So we will get revealed, means the whatever the doubts we have, and same time, like if we do not approach directly to the guru, I mean guru is not accessible, then Vaishnava, senior Vaishnava, through that Krishna will reciprocate and Krishna will give that knowledge, like Krishna says sarvasya chaham nirsanavishta. So that just wanted to mention.
Okay, thank you. Mother Golokananda Priya, I see you have your hand up. I missed it before. Sorry.
Yeah, my question is that I know Krishna speak to you through your spiritual master. For example, you have a spiritual master, but suppose he's no more physically present. So how do we know what Krishna is telling us? Because we don't have direct communication with a bona fide spiritual master, and he's no more physically present.
That's a good question. So when Srila Prabhupada returned to India in 67. And he came to Calcutta airport. Then he went to Mayapur. Some people criticized him that he didn't first go to the samadhi of his spiritual master, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. And his response, I don't know if you know what his response was. He said, "Do you think for a moment that I am separated from my spiritual master?" He said. So how is that? Because the order or the vani of the spiritual master is still, he carries that, one can carry that with one at all times, and that is non-different from the spiritual master. And in ISKCON, there are various current spiritual masters, but for everyone in ISKCON, the overarching Shiksha Guru for everybody is Srila Prabhupada. And as you know, Srila Prabhupada is given so many instructions as we're reviewing them now. So we're actually getting the association and the direction. Srila Prabhupada is speaking to you and me and all of us right here in this purport here and through this study of these literatures. So it's quite nice. It's transcendental enlivening. That's one of the ways we are associating with Srila Prabhupada, is directly hearing from him. And then he may have given, the spiritual master may have given you or I specific instructions that we can cherish. Like Srila Prabhupada was given the instruction in 1922 to spread Krishna consciousness to the West. He didn't immediately act on it, but he meditated on that instruction, and then he carried that on in his head, in his heart, in his mind, and became successful in carrying that out by the mercy of his guru, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. In other cases, I mean, if there's some difference, some confusion or uncertainty about how to understand the instruction of Srila Prabhupada or one's spiritual master who may have departed, then as Ram Shyam Prabhu spoke, that it's always also good to take counsel from other devotees, other Vaishnavas that you trust, and they can also be a representative of your spiritual master. For example, when Srila Prabhupada wanted to take sannyas, he approached one sannyas godbrother, and the godbrother said, no, you can wait some time. You do some service here for the mutt, and then maybe later we'll consider. But another godbrother, Keshav Maharaj, he said, Bhaktivedanta Prabhu, unless you take sannyas, it will be very difficult for you to preach. You must do it. You must do it. So Srila Prabhupada said, I knew that was my spiritual master speaking through that godbrother. So these are examples. So it's different ways. I hope that was helpful.
Yeah.
Okay.
That means you need to consult some like senior devotees or somebody whom you trust.
Yes.
The spiritual master is not.
If it's unclear, if you're not sure, yeah. Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes. Shall we do another verse?
Yes, Prabhu.
Okay.
মহাপ্রসাদ খাইল আসিয়া সব লোক, গোপাল দেখিয়া সবার খণ্ডে দুঃখ শোক।
Throngs of people came from different villages. Throngs of people came from different villages to see the deity of Gopal. And they took Mahaprasad sumptuously, not just a little bit of rock candy. When they saw the super excellent form of Lord Gopal, all their unhappiness and lamentation and unhappiness disappeared.
আশপাশ ব্রজভূমের যত গ্রাম সব এক এক দিন সবে করে মহোৎসব।
All the villages in neighboring Vrajbhumi, Vrindavan, became aware of the appearance of Gopal, and all the people from these villages came to see him. Day after day, they all performed the Ankut ceremony.
গোপাল প্রকট শুনি নানা দেশ হইতে নানা দ্রব্য লনা লোক লাগিল আসিতে।
In this way, not only the neighboring villages, but all the other provinces came to know of Gopal's appearance. Thus, people came from all over, bringing a variety of presentations. What are the provinces? What other provinces might there be? Yes? Come on, somebody.
Oh, Vrindavan, Vasana, I don't know.
Usually, don't you call it province, like Uttar Pradesh, Madhya Pradesh? Don't you call those provinces? No?
Those are states.
States? What's a province then? Province. Oh, province is Canada then. Isn't it? Province is Canada. Anyway, so there was the Gopal's appearance was known. Go ahead.
Would it be Mathura?
Mathura there, yeah, all over. So Lord Gopal became famous. Then I wanted to read this part. It's from a new book about this appearance of Gopal. He's one of 8 deities in around the Mathura Vrindavan area. So I'll just read this. It gives a little more information. India's wisdom texts tell us about Krishna's great grandson, Vajra, who was king of Mathura. He was the, Vajranabha was the son of, you know who?
Jayamadya.
No.
Krishna,
No, Pradyumna.
Close, but not quite.
Aniruddha, I don't know.
That's right. Aniruddha. He was the son of Aniruddha, who was the son of Pradyumna, who was the son of Krishna. Wanting to perpetuate the memory of his great grandfather, who was the Lord of all, Vajra installed the first Krishna deities after Krishna's departure from the world. To this end, Vajra searched out the sacred sites in Vrindavan where Krishna had enjoyed pastimes with his beloved cowherd friends. And then in those very places, he engaged Vishvakarma, the architect of the demigods, in carving 8 deities. In Mathura, Dirga Vishnu or Keshava. In Vrindavan, Govinda. In Govardhan, Haridev, and in Gokul, Baladev. These were the first 4. Additionally, he carved 2 Naths, Sri Nathji, originally at Govardhan and now in Nathdwara, Rajasthan, and Sri Gopinath, now in Jaipur. Add to this 2 Gopals known as Madan Gopal, renamed Madan Mohan, now in Karauli, Rajasthan, and Shakshi Gopal, now, you know where Shakshi Gopal is?
Remula.
Victoria?
It's near Orissa.
Yeah, in Orissa.
Orissa.
Shakshi, yeah, Gopinath is a different Gopinath is there. Yeah.
Gopal Kircho.
That's right, Shakshi Gopal. Vajra never saw Krishna when he walked on the earth. Consequently, he had the deities fashioned after descriptions given by Uttara. Who is Uttara?
Is a wife of
Manu
Parikshit. Uttara is a mother of Parikshit. No?
Yes, very good, very good.
Abhimanyu's wife.
Abhimanyu's wife, yeah, the mother of Maharaj Parikshit of Bhagavatam fame, and by Krishna's cousin, also by Krishna's cousin Uddhava, both of whom had the Lord's personal association while in Braj. With their guidance, he and Vishvakarma began their work. But of the three main deities, Madan Mohan, Govinda, and Gopinath, none of them, it is said, actually represented what Krishna looked like. Rather, only portions of each deity's body was considered on the mark. Govinda's face, the tradition tells us, flawlessly resembled that of the Lord. Madan Mohan mirrored Krishna's form, especially from the navel down to the lotus feet, and Gopinath was most precise in the trunk of the body from the navel to the neck. Thus, tradition asserts that seeing all three deities reveals the absolute truth. Okay. Thank you very much.
This is from which book, Prabhu?
Yeah, it's the Satyaraja's new book that he's compiling. I asked him to clarify from which book he got that.
Love to know.
What's that? This is just a draft.
Okay.
And I suggested that he clarify which book, where he got that information. We'll see what he says.
This portion I had already read before also. I don't know what are the references, but I was thinking I will elaborate if it's compiled so we can buy this book.
I agree. I see Mother Vatsala has her hand up there.
Hare Krishna, my humble pranam, Prabhu, close to Srila Prabhupada. Prabhu, is this a new book you said you are reading? And the name of the book, please?
I can't say.
Oh,
It's still not published yet.
oh, okay.
It's not published yet. It'll be published probably in 6 months or so.
No,
But
very
I got
interesting.
the opportunity to review some of the chapters, a couple of the chapters, so I stole it.
Oh, that's okay.
Don't turn me in, please. Don't turn me in.
This is being recorded. Should we?
Oh, okay, yeah, delete the recording.
Should we delete the recording?
Yeah.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you.
Are these deities still? Can one take darshan of these deities still? I mean, some of them.
Yes. I don't know all of them.
All of them?
He mentions.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Mother Golokananda Priya.
Yeah, I think you can still do it. They're all the three main deities like Gopinath, Govinda, and Madan Mohan. They're all like
Yes.
in Jaipur, Rajasthan.
Well, different places, yeah, different places.
Till got opportunity in 2016, we visited all this temple. We're still there.
Yeah, so Hari Dev is there. Govinda is now in Jaipur, very famous. Radha Govinda is famous in Jaipur. And Srinathji Gopal Nath is in Natwara. Shakshi Gopal is in Orissa. Madan Mohan is in Karoli, which is another place in Jaipur. And Keshavji is supposedly is in Mathura. So there's probably a couple others there. Most of them you can see. Yeah. This is from 5,000 years back.
This is what you read right now is also what we hear when we go to Jaipur.
Yes.
That the three, none of them are exactly like what Krishna Bhagwan was.
Yes. Even if they got the input from Uttara and Uddhava, still to capture Krishna is not easy. Others.
Do we know if anybody tried to? We know that certain the face and the trunk and the legs, on different deities are like Krishna. Did anyone try to put them all together? Do we know of that?
I don't know. That might be a good question to ask your guru. He's pretty skill. He knows about those things.
I will ask him.
When I was reading about the manifestation of Radharaman deity,
Yeah.
that's where when Jiva Goswami, no, Gopal Bhatta Goswami, it was Gopal Bhatta Goswami, yeah. Gopal Bhatta Goswami, when the deity manifested, all the personalities came, 5 Goswamis came, they confirmed that the face of the Radharaman is Govind Dev, and as you mentioned, so all these 3 features were in the Radharaman deity.
Oh, really? Okay. Very interesting. And that deity is quite not very big. Thank you. Okay.
Okay. Where
Thank
is
you
his
very much.
deity, please? Thank you, Prabhu. Radharaman deity.
In Vrindavan. In Vrindavan. Yeah, yeah. In Vrindavan, usually people, those who are interested in deity worship, they study at Radharaman temple because they have the most authentic standard of deity worship. And Srila Prabhupada sent Mother Jamuna there for learning about Pakka deity worship, Radharamanji temple in Vrindavan.
Mm-hmm. Thank you so much, Prabhu.
Thank you.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Have a great Krishna conscious, or even a good Krishna conscious day. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripasindhubhyeva cha patitana pavanena vaishnavibhyo.
Thank you so much, Prabhu. Appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Hare
Thanks,
Krishna.
everybody.
Thank you very much.
Have a good day.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Have a great one, everyone. Hare Krishna, everyone.